officially announce the welcome. So ladies, beyond flying, a big warm welcome here from Berlin, Germany. My name is Daniel Stecher. I'm the delighted moderator of Ladies Beyond Flying. And today it is our 49th Aviation Women panel. And today we do a very special edition because we are not just having one guest speaker, we are not just having two guest speakers. No, we are going to have three and potentially more, because it might be that some more of the Positive Intelligence Coaching Program cohort are going to join us on stage. But we have mainly here Sadia, Sonia, and Sharina, who will share their experience from this coaching program, primarily led by Sadia. Sadia gave us already a talk a couple months back about a coaching program and why positive intelligence is really positively influencing the mindset and the career of women. We had also a follow-up conversation, and so today we have this officially as Aviation Women panel. So everybody is free to raise your hands during the conversation we are going to have. It's an open program. It's on record, so please, no mean jokes, no bold statements, of course. And Sadia, Sonia, Sharina, stage is yours. Maybe Sadia, you giving a little bit a summary of the program again, and then Sonia, Sharina, please share your experience with this coaching program.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Daniel, for the introduction and for allowing us on the stage today to discuss the Positive Intelligence Coaching Program, but also just kind of wider than that. How can we actually get to be the true versions of ourselves and achieve our true potential? So very excited to share that with you today. Am I good to start? Or are we waiting for anybody else to come in? We're okay, good to go.
No. Full throttle, please. Go ahead.
Okay, well, let's go in that case. So I'm going to share my screen with you for a start. Here we go. Right, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Which looked very similar to the last screen, to be fair. So I'm not sure you'll be able to tell the difference too much there. Every time I put it in slideshow mode, I must say I lose all of your lovely faces. So if you can bear with this view, would that be okay with you?
We can do that. But on the other hand, then we have full screen exposure, of course, with the presentation.
That is true. That is true. I'm going to sacrifice that to be able to see your lovely faces, if that's all right. Yes, Positive Intelligence Coaching Program. So I was incredibly privileged to work with some lovely professional ladies earlier in the year, and I continue to do so through this program. But I'm going to kick off, first of all, with a big fat question, which is, hands up if you want to achieve your true potential. I'm going to put my hand up to that. Nice. Lots of hands up, double hands up. Wonderful. For those of you not on camera, thank you for that. Oh, lovely. Thank you. Thank you, Deborah. Hands up. Well, you're absolutely in the right place for that, and we're going to talk about that today. And for those of you who don't know who I am, so I'm Sadia. I've got an economics background and an international management postgrad, but more importantly, I've been in the corporate world in the logistics cargo industry for the last 20 odd years. I've been leading some big scale projects internationally, running multicultural teams, and I'm now the managing director of SHK Solutions, where I'm a qualified executive and leadership coach. I'm also a little bit of a curveball, a certified personal trainer, because I'm very much into how our minds affect our bodies and how our bodies affect our minds, and believe in that mind-body connection for us to be the best versions of ourselves. So I'm on a mission, and my mission is to optimize performance. Now, that is whether it's an individual wanting to come along and say, how can I be the best version of myself? Whether it's an organization saying, how can I get the best out of my teams, out of my staff? I think it's all about finding that recipe, you know, finding that lovely combination of things that we can put into our pot for us to be able to optimize ourselves and show up at full power on every single thing that we do. So how it's going to work today is I'm going to talk to you for about 30 minutes, and I'm going to tell you all about the secret of how you're going to be able to achieve your true potential. And that secret is through a framework. And this framework is actually all within the Positive Intelligence course. I'm going to talk you through the elements of that framework and elements of this course, but I'm also conscious that I'm just going to be touching on things because I don't have too much time to go on, you know, into super duper depth. So if there is more that you want, or you're asking, you know, questions are popping up in your mind, feel free to jump up and to ask me about that. But essentially, I'm trying to cram about 6 weeks worth of content into about 30 minutes because I'd quite like to leave some space after that to invite the lovely colleagues that have been through the course to share their experiences and how they found the course helped them more specifically, because I think that will really help you to bring that alive as well. It's going to be a bit interactive when I'm talking to you, so I'd really appreciate it if any pings or dings or rings, you know, phones in the drawers if you can resist it for the next hour. That would be really helpful, and it help you to get the full value out of what we're doing today, and make sure that you're just not going to miss a beat here. So without a further ado, I think that's all the bits that I needed to tell you as an introduction. Yeah, I'm gonna check in with you first of all. So, how are you feeling? How are you doing today? I want you just to have a little think about a bit of an emotional check-in with yourself. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put some numbers in the chat. Put some numbers in the chat and let me know. Let me know how you're feeling. Let's see what comes through. For me, I'm pretty much a 2, I would say today. I'm feeling pretty excited. Okay, we got a 3. Nice. Couple of 3s coming through. More 3s coming through. I wonder what that means. Curious, 3 to 5. Very nice. Okay. So kind of curious a little bit. Oh, 5's a little bit. There's some feelings going on there, I can see. So yeah, it's important just to kind of check in with ourselves to see like how we're showing up into the space today. I'm definitely feeling excited. I'm probably a number 2 there to share what I'm going to share with you today. And I'm really excited to also hear what you think by the end of this session too. So my second check-in with you are what are you thinking right now? What thoughts are coming up for you in your mind? Just again, put it in the chat. Just a very short sentence. What are you thinking about right now? Muddled. Okay. What else is coming up? What are the thoughts? What's coming up next? Yeah, I'm curious to see what's happening next. Definitely. What other thoughts are going on? Excited to rehear this material. Brilliant. Thank you. Yeah. Any other thoughts around the room? Very echoing what Sonia was saying there. Excited to hear about the material. Brilliant. Well, it's important for us to just kind of check in with ourselves on an emotional level, but also just on a thinking level to kind of start to notice, you know, what am I thinking about? You know, starting to notice and become aware of our thoughts. So we're gonna do a little bit more of that a little bit later, but that was just a bit of a warm up for you. So what is positive intelligence? Well, I think we've all heard of IQ, which is our intelligence quotient, which is a score derived from a set of standardized tests. And it's there to assess human intelligence. Of course, it has its flaws, but it's quite commonly used. We've also heard of EQ, hopefully, which is emotional intelligence. And it's our ability to be able to identify our own emotions, but also kind of be able to read other people's emotions too. So what's PQ, right? What is PQ? Well, PQ is your positive intelligence quotient, which means it's the amount of time that your mind is serving you as opposed to sabotaging you. So the higher your PQ score, the more time your mind spends helping you, cheerleading you, saying the right things to help you to achieve your goals. And the lower your PQ score, you're probably more in the camp of sabotaging yourself with the thoughts that you're having. So it's important that we start thinking about our thoughts. You know, what is it that I'm saying to myself? Sometimes people refer to it as the inner critic as well. So positive intelligence, your mind can be your best friend, you know, hand in hand, can be your absolute cheerleader, can be your support, can be your rock, but it can be your absolute worst enemy as well. It can be the thing that drives you towards your goals. It can be the thing that takes you far, far away from your goals. And I want to just credit the organisation that came up with this model, because there's a lot of research, a lot of data behind this model and behind this framework. And the author of Positive Intelligence is this fellow on the right, smiling very nicely, Shazad Shamin. He was the CEO of one of the largest coaching organisations in the world called CTI. He has a whole ream of research behind him, and lots and lots of years and experience in this area, including being a lecturer at Yale, at Stanford, but also being a New York Times bestseller. So the book is available to buy, but this course is 6 weeks to success in terms of making your mind shift from self-sabotage, from not helping you, towards helping you towards the things that you want to achieve in your life. So the Positive Intelligence program is all about increasing our mental fitness. And the measure of our mental fitness is all about how quickly we can recover from negative to positive when dealing with a challenge. Now, we all have challenges, right? I mean, every single day of our lives, we have challenges, whether they're small, whether they're big. And it's how we deal with those challenges that actually matters. Now, this research and this framework is based on, like, you know, 500,000 participants. And what it's shown is that PQ is actually the best predictor of how happy we can be and how much we can perform in relation to our potential. So it's a solid grounding in order for us to be able to use it to benefit ourselves. So in a nutshell, what's being said here is there's a direct relationship between the thoughts that we have, so the things that are generated in our minds, and our goals and our ability to achieve our goals. So your thoughts are so powerful. They can take you to where you want to go, or they can just drop you and you can end up at the bottom of the sea. And until we start monitoring and becoming aware of them, we don't necessarily actually have control of them. We're not in the driving seats of our lives. So the first idea is actually about becoming aware of your thoughts. So the framework here is based on 3 things. It's based on awareness. It's based on finding those voices in your minds and listening to them and hearing them and hearing what's being said. And those voices are given a name in this framework. The voices are called your judge and your saboteurs. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. The second piece to this framework is about how do we increase self-command? How do we take back control? And we can do that through re-engaging our senses and becoming just a little bit calmer, which actually takes us to a different part of our brain in order for us to then recenter and then be able to move on to the third portion of this, which is the choice, being able to make an informed choice around what you want to do, rather than just going with the wave of the thought in the beginning and then kind of wondering how did I get there. So there's 3 pieces to building mental fitness. there's 3 pieces for you to be able to achieve your true potential. And I'm going to talk you through each of these pieces, and then we're going to get a little bit interactive actually in one of those pieces as well. Everybody okay so far? Just doing a check-in. Anything in the chat that you want to put in? Any other questions coming up at the moment? Everything making sense?
Makes sense. No questions.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. So I would like to introduce you to your judge. Meet your judge. Now, I'm not telling you, I'm not asking you whether you have a judge or whether you don't have a judge. We all have a judge. This framework makes it very clear we all have a judge. And actually, that judge sits within us, within our minds, and it talks to us. He or she, it talks to us. And it talks to us in all sorts of ways, according to what we're seeing during our day, what we've seen in our past, or maybe even what we're thinking about in the future. It talks to us, it beats us up about things, about mistakes that we may have made, about our shortcomings, perhaps. It warns us about the future. Oh, what about this? And what about this? And what if that happens? And what if she says this? And what if I don't like it? So it sort of worries about the future. But also it can fixate on things that have happened. Oh, why did I say that? Why did I do that? Why did he do that? Why did she say that? This judge can be really quite active. And also this judge can therefore, you can probably see it in my body language already, I'm getting stressed talking about it. It can cause unhappiness. It can cause stress. It can reduce your effectiveness, and it can harm your relationships. So we all have a judge inside of us. And that judge is doing 3 things. It's either judging you, so you're judging yourself. You're either judging somebody else, or you're judging a situation or an environment or a scenario. So that judge is operating pretty much all the time. Now, it depends how loud that judge is for you as to how much you therefore listen to it. But that judge, you see, has got some sidekicks. He's got some sidekicks, and he's got 9 of them. And these sidekicks are called the 9 accomplice saboteurs. So we have the master judge, and then we have these 9 accomplice saboteurs who then come in and start kind of more specifically breaking it down in terms of the challenge you're facing, and can start to kind of talk to you in a way that's really quite unhelpful. So I'm going to go through these 9 accomplice saboteurs. I want you to just start thinking about them, thinking about, actually, does this resonate? Or do I hear this? Do I feel this? Do I recognize any of this? So I'm going to start from the top. So the avoider saboteur. The avoider saboteur tends to kind of focus on the positive and the pleasant in an extreme way. It actually helps you. It thinks it's helping you to avoid unpleasant and difficult tasks and even conflicts. So the avoider saboteur, if you have any amount of procrastination within you, that is the avoider saboteur flying the flag, waving that flag. So that's all about, oh, don't do it now, do it later. You don't need to do that task now. Yeah, just put it off a little bit longer. Go and do that fun thing instead. Tidy your room or your whole house instead of doing that task. Just leave it a little bit longer. That's what the avoider saboteur is telling you to do, because it's giving you short-term relief, short-term gain, but long-term pain, because we're just putting things off. We're putting things off. We're putting things off. The controller saboteur. The controller saboteur has a need to take charge of a situation. He wants to control, he or she, gender neutral, wants to take control of the situation. He wants people's actions to be his or her actions instead. There's a lot of impatience in there as well. If you've ever heard anybody say, no, I want you to do it like this. No, not like that. Do it like this. This is the way you have to do it. Or you produce a piece of work and you go and hand it to your manager and they change it all and they give it back to you. You know, they don't look at any of the things that you've done, and you think actually you should have just done it yourself then in that case, shouldn't you? The controller saboteur comes out when we think our ideas are the best, and we don't necessarily look to see actually what about other people's ideas. Maybe there's something in that as well. It's all about extreme control and telling you the lie that is they don't know what they're doing, your ideas are the best, just go with this, don't do that. Again, it's sort of giving you some sort of comfort in your mind's eye, saying go with your stuff, go with it. But then on the other hand, not necessarily being open to see actually what about other things, what about other ideas. You know, it's not as kind of flexible to be able to say or to accept somebody else's way. The hyperachiever. Have you ever said this to yourself? It's not enough, I need to do more, I've got to do more. Oh, I've just spent 3 hours on this, I need to spend another 2 more hours on it. Have you ever got into a task and just done it and done it and done it and done it because it's got to be perfect? It's got to be exactly on point with whatever is going on in your mind. And you spent hours and hours and hours and hours. The hyperachiever just wants you to go and go and go and go and go, and does not allow any room for you to sit back and say, actually, you know what? That's okay. I'm okay with that. And you hand it over in a nice, calm and controlled way. Again, this is all extreme. This is all extreme. So the victim. Have you ever noticed where somebody might kind of be feeling ultra sorry for themselves? And when I mean ultra sorry, I mean we all feel sorry for ourselves, don't we? Oh, for me, you know, this happened. But ultra sorry in that, oh, this always happens to me. Why does this always happen to me? You know, it's an extreme focus on the internal feelings, particularly the painful ones, and really kind of living within the whole of the challenge rather than kind of coming up for air and going, actually, how do we solve it? But just getting really absorbed into that. So the victim saboteur loves to be self-indulgent in saying to us, oh yeah, poor you, gosh, no, just keep sitting in this hole, just keep sitting here for a little bit longer. And we do because we listen, and we stay there a little bit longer and a little bit longer, and a week, and 2 weeks, and a month, 2 months. So the hyper rational saboteur. This is an intense and exclusive focus on the rational processing of everything. So you're absolutely wanting to intellectualize everything, and you want all the data, you want all the information, you want all the research, you want all the books. You know, you indulge so much in the research of everything that you never actually kind of get to the action bit. So the hyper rational is like, I need to rationalize this. There's no space for emotions. There's no space to consider that there's something outside of data and research. And actually, what about feelings? The hyper rational saboteur tells us, don't worry about feelings and emotions. It's not in the data, doesn't exist. Okay, we've got 4 more to go, and I'm very conscious I'm talking a lot, and this is a lot to take in as well. Any thoughts and ideas coming up at the moment? Feel free. Yeah. Shireen, I can't see your name on there. I'm sorry. I hope I got your name right there.
Yeah, Shireen.
Yeah, please.
So I have a question because I haven't finished the book yet.
Yeah.
I started. Is it common or more prevalent that people have multiple of these?
Yeah. People, fantastic question. It's absolutely common that people will have multiple of these. Okay. And everybody's saboteurs will be a combination of different ones, which is why actually it's a fantastic, I'm kind of fast forwarding to the end, but you know, the free online saboteur test is a great starting position because it helps you to identify yours in a ranking order to say, actually, this one is.
I can identify which ones I have.
Yeah.
I'd love to know the order. That's really interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to share the link in the chat
Okay.
later on, and definitely get online and give that a go, because it gives you literally the ranking of your own according to the questions that you've answered. So we definitely have a combination of these, and yours will be unique to you. That they're thoughts that we've built over time since our childhood.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
they've grown and grown and grown, and it's
Yeah.
now that we're just uncovering them and we're giving them a name and a label to be able to see them better.
Right.
But we've all got them, and we've all got multiple of them, definitely. Great question, thank you.
Sharina has a question.
Yes.
More of a comment. I wanted to say, I think everyone would have possibly all of them. It's just that the intensity would be less, and your highest ones would be like, some there'll be a ranking order, and what you would have could be, like for me, it could be the avoider, and maybe less of a pleaser, but it will be different based on different people, and most likely you're going to have all of them in some ways.
Yes, yes, great point. Absolutely, and just to underline the point, some of them are louder, some of them are softer, just depending on the stories that we've built in our own minds over the time that's passed since we've been walking on this planet. But yeah, it's so interesting. You can probably start to recognize some of them already, even though I haven't finished the list yet. Anything else before? Yeah. Was somebody else? Oh, sorry. I thought I was interrupting somebody there.
Oh, no.
So I'll finish off the list if there's no other questions at this point. But yeah, feel free to come in and say something if you want to. Okay, so we were at the hypervigilant. The hypervigilant is quite anxious. So the thoughts that come up here are very worrisome. It's all about kind of continuously worrying about the dangers and what could go wrong. You know, if you've ever found yourself saying, oh, what if this happens, and what if that happens, and what if she says this, and what if I go there and then this goes wrong, or I missed that, or I haven't packed this, or I haven't remembered that, or I've got a presentation coming up. What if I fall off the stage and they ask me all these questions and I don't know the answers? This is exactly the hypervigilant. The hypervigilant is just can't rest because it's really worried about the future and what's going to happen, and it really winds us up because of that and tells us all the lies, really. And if we buy those lies, it can really take us away from doing the things that we want to do. It makes our world smaller and smaller, and we end up not necessarily being able to experience all the things that we want to, had we not listened to that voice. So the last three. So the next one's about the pleaser saboteur. The pleaser saboteur is all about trying to gain acceptance and affection by helping and by pleasing and by rescuing. And, it's all about your opinion of me. That I need to do anything I can in order for you to be happy with me. I need to please you, and in order for me to validate myself, I need you to be happy with me. So the pleaser saboteur is always telling us the lies, which are, oh, you need to make that person happy. Oh, look, they didn't look at you very nicely. Maybe they're not very happy with you. What have you done wrong? You've got to make them happy, so then you feel happy. And if we keep buying this and we keep listening to these lies that the pleaser saboteur is telling us, we start to become a bit resentful. We can become quite resentful because we end up fulfilling everybody else's needs, and we're right down there at the bottom of the pile, which eventually you kind of go, hang on a minute, why am I always last? Why is nobody recognizing who I am? I'm trying my best. I'm trying to help everybody else. Nobody's bothering with me. So the resentfulness can come in, and we can start losing sight of our own needs. The restless, the last but one here, the restless, always wanting to go. It's all about kind of constantly searching for greater excitement, the next activity, the next lot of busyness. I was talking to a friend once, and she was talking about how she just hops from this to this to this to this to this, and there's no moment where she kind of goes, yeah, I feel good, I feel happy, or I'm okay. There's always grass is greener, grass is greener, grass is greener, grass is greener, and you're just hopping, 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 hopping with this kind of restlessness. So you're rarely at peace, you're rarely content, and you're rarely actually within the current moment, because you're always thinking about, what can I do next? Where can I go next? You know, that's better than where I am now. So the restless saboteurs always telling us, you know, move on, move on, move on, move on. And finally, the stickler. So the stickler is all about perfectionism. Perfectionism in that, you know, yes, we need order, yes, we need organization, but it kind of takes it to the extreme, trying to make things too perfect, whatever perfect is in the mind of that human being. And there's always this pursuit of, it has to be like this, or it has to be like this, or it must be like that. So, you know, and the stickler doesn't let you rest, because it's got this absolutely perfectionist streak within it that's telling you that it's not right, do it again. It's not right, do it again. It's not right, do it again. So they are the 9 accomplice saboteurs who hold hands with your master judge, and they can come out and start to play around in your mind, like children in the playground, if you like. And they play around in your mind's playground until you notice them, and begin to kind of separate them out. Because when we don't notice them, and when we don't separate them out, we can think that it's us, that's who we are. We can think that, oh, you know, I need to listen to this avoider saboteur, you know, even though we don't know it is an avoider saboteur at that point. I need to listen to this voice which is telling me, don't do it now, do it later, don't do it now, do it later. And when I do that, I feel the impact of it. But when I can separate it out from me, when I can separate this voice out from me and label it to say, that's my avoider saboteur. I know what they're trying to tell me, and I know where this is taking me. Then we get the power back, and we get to understand, do we want to listen to it, or do we not want to listen to it? So again, that's a lot of information there, and a bit of a refresher for everybody on the course, which is hopefully helpful as well. But I'm going to move on and tell you a little bit of a story. So I want to tell you a little bit of a story, and then we're going to play a little game. I'm conscious it's 4:30, and I said I'm going to talk for 30 minutes, so that's obviously out the window already. But there's not a huge amount more to go, so don't worry. So my true story, which is a short story, is about something that happened with me back in June of this year. So those of you who know me know that I get a little bit obsessed with jet washing. So jet washing is where you take a very high-powered machine and you clean the tiles of the floor outside with this high-powered machine and remove all the dirt off it, kind of stroke by stroke. And it's quite therapeutic, actually, because you see all the mud coming off, like literally as you're doing it. So I get a little bit too into that. Anyway, I was doing my annual jet washing. Wellington boots on, dirty clothes on, outside, music in my ears, off we go. And I got far too carried away with that. Oh, sorry, somebody's got their hand up. Does somebody want to say something?
Yeah, Sadia, I was thinking there were people coming in and out, so I was thinking maybe we could post the picture of the saboteurs in the chat.
Yeah.
So that that people can relate to what you're saying if they're coming in late. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, not at all, not at all. Do you know what I'll do? I'll leave it static on the screen as well, okay, rather than my true story one. So as I'm speaking, actually, and this is going to help you with the game. So great idea. So here I am, jet washing in my element, getting a little bit too carried away, and end up doing this activity in the same position for. Thank you, Daniel, for doing that. In the same position for about 3 hours. So probably 3.5, to be honest. 3.5 hours in the same position with this absolute industrial jet wash machine. needless to say, I could not sit down at the dinner table that night because I ended up injuring my back. I ended up injuring my back actually very severely because I did that. And I would like to tell you about all the thought processes I went through and sort of still am going through since June, because it's not better at all. Well, it is a little bit better, but not, you know, I'd like it to be even more better. So the thoughts that I was going through was, I'm such an idiot. Why did I sit there for 3 hours doing this thing? I should know better. You know, I've gone and injured myself. I can't now go to the gym. I can't do my fitness. I'm so annoyed with myself. Oh, I could be able to do that this time last year and I can't do it right now. Why does this happen to me? Like, of all the people, why is it happening? I thought I was stronger than that. You can hear, these are the thoughts that were going on in my head from this injury. Will I ever be better? Is this just a slippery slope? And now I'm just going to end up absolutely on the floor, you know, in 2 years' time. I'm just not going to be able to do all the things that I wanted to do. It's taken me away from all my goals, you know, so down in the dumps. So what I'd like you to do, actually, having heard my story, is I'd like you to have a look at the thoughts that I was having. And I'd like you to shout out, which of my saboteurs were playing around in my head? Feel free just to shout out.
Hyperachiever.
Yeah, why? Why, Sonia?
Well, because you kept going when you knew you probably should have stopped, but you were so into it and you wanted it done and perfect. So
Yeah.
probably a little stickler maybe and hyperachiever both.
Yeah, I agree with that, definitely. Thank you. Anything else? Feel free to put it in the chat if you'd like to as well.
Victim,
Victim, yeah? Yeah, why?
because you had thoughts like, why did this happen to me? You're an idiot. I used to be able to do it. Why can't I do it now?
Yeah,
Do you feel sorry for yourself?
yeah, 100%. Still fighting that one.
I would say hyper vigilant too, because what if I never get better? You know, I used to be able to do it. Why can't I do it now? It's that whole like worry and just you're overthinking things and
Yeah. Exactly. And how do you think these thoughts were making me feel?
terrible.
Yeah. Stressed.
Useless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all of those things. Definitely. Completely taking me away from my goal, which was actually to try and get better, to try and heal. And what do you think what would happen if I continued listening to these voices?
Well, you wouldn't get better. And
Yeah.
and
Maybe
probably
worse, maybe.
right. And you'd probably give up on a lot of things that will make you feel better and feel overwhelmed, and then that's what I would do anyway, is like feel overwhelmed and then shut down. It's like, okay, now I can't do anything.
Yeah. 100%.
And
Definitely.
some of these are making you feel worse for nothing. Like some of these are not big things in the grand scheme of things, right? Like these
Yeah.
are things that you could ignore easily, and it's like, yeah, okay, you can soothe your thoughts or your inner critique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So just a question for everyone to ponder. Do you recognize any of these thoughts in some of the things that you do or some of the challenges that you've faced? Do you just have a little think to yourself, do you recognize any of these thoughts or maybe any similar thoughts that we can now start categorizing as some of these saboteurs playing around in our minds? Feel free to put it in the chat. Have a little think. Do you recognize them? So that was the awareness piece, which I've gone into quite a lot of detail about actually. But we learn even more about that on the course, and we really get to grips with that, literally our own saboteurs. So it's very much tailored to you and the ones that are the most loud for you in the challenges that you face. The second piece is about building, so now I've had all of those thoughts, right? So now my saboteurs are out to play and I'm having these thoughts. I've become aware of them and I've gone, okay, hang on. That's not me, it's my saboteur. If I listen to it, you know where this is going to go, Sadia. Don't want to go there. I'm going to need to do something about it. So the second piece is taking back control. Taking back control, finding the calm, and building your self-command muscle. I would love to demonstrate how we do this for you with a 3-minute exercise, which involves you just experiencing what in the framework they call it a PQ rep. So PQ, positive intelligence, rep meaning, like when you're in the gym, you're doing reps. The idea is that the more of these sorts of activities you do, the more reps you do, the more you build your mental muscle and your ability to get yourself back into the calm mode, taking the power away from your saboteurs. And then you can then move on to number 3, which is actually, going where you want to go instead. So I'd like to invite you, just for the next 3 minutes, I'm going to go through a little exercise with you, which involves just a little bit of calm and peace, which means it's going to involve you closing your eyes if you would like to do that. If you want to have your camera off, those of you who have already, that's completely fine. But if you want to have your camera off to do this as well, that's completely fine. But if you don't want to take part, that is also okay. And just feel free to listen along. So with that, I'm going to put my camera off so that I don't distract you with what I'm going to read. So just have a listen, and it's only going to be for the next 3 minutes. Okay. So I'd like to invite you to close your eyes now as we transition to our PQ reps. I'd like to shift your attention away from busy thoughts and begin to focus instead on your body. Feel the weight of your body on your seat. Feel the weight of your feet on the floor. Now take a few deep breaths and just notice the rising and the falling of your chest or stomach with each breath. And now just relax back into the natural rhythm of your breath. Just notice the temperature of the air as it enters your nostrils and the temperature of the air that exits your nostrils. You may become aware of the sensations in your nostrils and how they change with the inhale and the exhale. Let go of any thoughts as they come in and just keep refocusing on your physical sensations. Now, gently rub 2 fingertips against each other with such a tension that you can feel the fingertip ridges on both fingers. Notice any texture changes from one area to another. Shifting a little, just begin gently rubbing all the fingertips of one hand against the fingertips and the palm of the other. And just feel all of those sensations of touch. Now bring your attention to the sounds around you and just notice the ones furthest away. What can you hear? And now bring your attention to the sounds closest to you. Perhaps even the sound of your own breathing. And just as we finish off, once again, just want you to listen and to notice the rising and the falling of your chest or stomach with each of your breaths. I'd like to invite you to open your eyes if they're not already open. And thank you very much for taking part in the exercise. Feel free to open your camera if you'd like to again. How's everyone feeling?
Better?
I got some work to do. When you paused, I'm like, oh my gosh, did I lose internet connection? Did I fall off the call? And then when you were saying to rub your palms and then do something else, I'm like, am I still supposed to be rubbing my palms and listening? So if overthinker is one.
Oh, sounds like there's a bit of a saboteur in there having a chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other comments from anybody? Maybe in the chat if you'd like to, or feel free to come off the mic. Is it Deborah? I can see you're unmuted.
Gulnaz.
Yeah, that's my second name. My last name, you can say that, but I'm called Gulnaz. But all
Oh,
good.
Gulnaz, nice to see you. Did you want to make a comment? You came off your mute button.
Yeah, I was basically trying to get more relaxed because I finished my day at work. So this gave me a breather. So I'm feeling much better and relaxed. It's the end of the day.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for that. So the idea of just intercepting our day and regrounding ourselves through our senses, and this is just a very short 3-minute exercise. Within the course, we can do 2-minute, 5-minute, 12-minute ones. The idea is really to help us to kind of take back control from those saboteur thoughts, to get back into our bodies, to get back into the present moment, for us then to be able to bridge over to our sage, saboteur to sage, to our sage part of our brain. Literally, it's a different part of our brain. You know, when you're operating in saboteur, if I put you under an MRI machine, different parts of your brain would literally light up, versus if you were functioning in your sage brain, different parts of your brain would literally light up in an MRI scanner. So this exercise and these types of exercises are what we learn through the course and help us, once we've become aware of our saboteurs and we've labeled them and we can hear the lies that they're telling us, we take back control through these exercises and then go on to our sage mind to make the decisions we want to make to get to the goals we want to achieve, which we all put our hands up in the beginning and said we want to achieve our true potential. Now, the sage powers, there are 5 of them. I'm not going to go through all of them because we don't have time. In the course, we go through each and every one of these sage powers, and we show you how to activate these sage powers and how to take back control, how to help how these particular ways help you to get to what you want to get to. And those 5 powers are empathize, explore, innovate, navigate, and activate. And this is just an incredibly quick summary on this page of that. But essentially, the course itself is all app-based. You know, you have it on an app. There's daily practice of the exercises that we just tried. The more we do those exercises, the more we notice that we can start letting go of those thoughts and kind of coming back into control as well, because it's all about building that mental muscle, but building the mental fitness through those activities. There's weekly focus, there's measurable progress, there's community support. You get this fun, you know, reps and charge and muscle at the top of your app as well. There's a weekly video, you listen to the audio book, there's a lot in there. But actually it's very well paced and it's very fun when we do it as a group as well. This is just a very quick overview of how it actually works in practice. The course, that is, the Positive Intelligence course. Each weekend you watch a video. Each weekday there's a live call where we discuss the video in a pod meeting. And then from Tuesday to Friday each week, you get some fun challenges coming through the app where you log on and it's like a 2-minute thing and then it gives you some points and it's all very fun. But essentially, I want to leave you with this before I kind of, open up to questions and also to Sonia and to Shirin, who have done this course, for their comments, because I've totally run over here. So I'm so sorry about that. But essentially, your thoughts are your world. So when you win your mind, you really are shaping your reality. So that was the punchline I really wanted to give everybody, because you have the power within you. You just got to find how to access that. You've got all the answers right there. So with that, Sonia and Shirin, do you want to say something according to your experiences, how it helped you? Perhaps you wanted to make some comments?
Maybe you stop your screen sharing, Sadia, that we have everybody on. And I think we have to extend this panel for 3 more hours because we have 3 panelists and 53 minutes are Sadia. So now Sonia and Sharina will also have 53 minutes, of course.
I fully agree. I totally agree. And actually, we did speak about it earlier, so it's sort of running to planish. So go for it.
I think I'll say something before Sonia starts. I just want to say that that 6-week schedule, it's not as much as you think it is. It's just the weekend you watch a video and then you come into a weekly meeting. But after that, how many minutes would it take, Sadia, in a day? Like 5 to 6 minutes in a day? That's what you're kind of committing to, right? So it's not a lot in a day during the week. So weekend you can make time for the video. As long as you can make the time for the weekly call, then you're set. So it's not it doesn't take a long time.
Yeah,
just wanted to say that. Yeah, over to you, Sonia.
Okay, so I just wanted to say that the course was just really awesome, and I realized what my saboteurs were. I worked on, all the things Sadia talked about, and at the end of the course, I was really able to deal with stress a lot better. And the cautionary tale is that I then really slacked off afterwards. Like I joined the next phase of the course, but I really slacked off. And I actually, and Sadia, you're going to laugh at me here in a second, but I actually told Sadia, okay, I'm not going to do the grow module anymore because I have too much on my plate and all of this stuff. And just now, after this rehearing everything again, I'm realizing, oh my God, that's my saboteurs talking, right? So I've been so stressed for the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks, and it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And I have the tools, right? But my saboteurs have been telling me you don't have time for it. And so I've allowed myself to really buy into that, and I almost canceled. So I'm not canceling, Sadia. I'm not doing it because I just through this talk, which I'm really grateful, Daniel, for having us here today, and for Sadia and everybody to present it, because now it's that reminder. It's like, oh, you know what? When I contrast how I felt after we were done with the course and how well I was able to deal with my stress, the stress hasn't changed. It's not gotten more stressful. It's always been stressful, right? But my ability to deal with the stress in a positive manner and not let myself buy into the saboteur stuff was so much stronger after I finished the course than today. And so I have renewed energy now to go back into the app, do the app every day, stay in the growth module, because this totally contrasted it for me. And I think that, I think a lot of people probably going through the course have that same experience. I guess I just needed an extra deteriorate again so I can re-engage, but I know I have the tools. And I remember how well I dealt in, like, during our cohort talks, we talked about, how it was, and we came up with, and I remember I had experiences where, oh, this was so stressful, but I handled it this way and it was so good. Well, I'm now at a point where I have so much stress and I'm not handling it well at all. So that's really the huge, immense difference this course, and then you continuing to use the tools, can actually make in your life. So that's what I
Sharina,
wanted.
so how has it changed your life?
I think I have to say I'm still learning. I did find that through Sonia's examples and actually Ivana's examples that I felt like they had put it into their lives much better than I did. Maybe a saboteur that's speaking, but that's what I felt like. But for me, it's quite serendipitous that this even happened. Sadia put this in the Ladies Beyond Flying group chat, and I was like, yeah, I'm doing this. Because I was aware of the saboteurs. I had done this assessment with a coach before, so I knew the list, and I was just not doing. I was doing some things, but not a lot about it. And I felt this course gave me the tools to kind of recognize and deal with it. And like Sonia saying, actually you have to put in the time and effort to kind of refresh it on a daily basis. Otherwise, sometimes you forget as the days go. And in the beginning, in the first call when Sadia started and he was talking about the inner voices, and I was thinking, that's just my planning voices. Like, it's just for planning my day and the next day and so on. But then I realized, okay, there are other there are other things that are creeping in there. And the whole thing is about grounding yourself in the present. That's what I think of it. It's just simple things to just be aware of your senses. You're just really grounded in the present, and therefore all this mind chatter doesn't matter. And then you can make the decisions that are best suited for you from a place of calmness. It's as simple as that. And I was kind of thinking of like the Indian practices of yoga, like even in the dance mudras, like the touching of the fingers is there. And I'm thinking, oh, you're onto something there, something that actually really calms your mind there. So that was my other thought. And the 6 weeks is intended to kind of form a habit, and then you continue with the app on your own. So and that is said of many things, right? Like if you form that habit, do it for like a month or more, then it's there in you. So I think that's what the course allows you to do.
But Sadia, how would you somehow see it from the perspective that we all have these saboteurs? They have their root causes. We have then established a network or an environment which is maybe in favor of these saboteurs. Now we do such a coaching program. And it's a little bit like you are in your standard life, you go on a lovely vacation in an extra phenomenal resort, everything is paradise. You come back energized, you're back to work, and then it's exactly the shock of reality. So is this not exactly the situation? So how to really then, of course, we cannot have vacation time every day in our standard life, but how to really get then on a normal level this inspiration we got from the vacation experience, from the nice views from the balcony and the nice vibrations, and how we can avoid that we are not getting back in this very gray life of every day.
Yeah, it's a great question, because often we can experience something and think it's fantastic at the time, and then it's short-lived, isn't it? And you go back to reality. And I think what this course does, well, the intention behind this course is for you to build habits that then become automatic. They become your nature, and that's why it's a 6-week program and not a 2-day program. That's why they have daily interruptions into your day. So it's about drip feeding little and often, little and often, little and often. So by 6 weeks, you've had little and often for, 7 days times 6 weeks, in order to be able to build those neural pathways. Because essentially, it talks about this in the audiobook, but also at the beginning of the course. Our habits are neural pathways that we just practiced many, many, many times over. Why is it that we don't think about brushing our teeth in the morning? Well, because we've done it so many times. We just go to the bathroom, brush our teeth, and leave again. It's automatic. So, but what's happened over time with our thought processes, we've built those pathways, and we go to those pathways as default settings because we've done it so many times. We've become the masters of those thinking processes in a way. So through the 6-week program, it's helping you to now go, oh, the thought process wants to go down here. Oh, hang on a minute, I'm going to intercept it and I'm going to send it down here instead. So instead of reaching for the negative thought process, which can happen quite instantly, like, oh, oh, this is going to happen. Oh, I can't deal with this. Oh, I don't have time. We go to that so easily. We start intercepting that. And we intercept it and we push it down a different pathway. And the next time it wants to do that again, but we intercept it and we push it down a different pathway. And by week 2, by week 3, by week 4, we're starting to actually see that there's less effort that's taken to be able to take it down a new pathway, because we built that neural pathway. And by week 6, you're flowing way better down that pathway than you were in the previous one, because it's practice, because it's habit formation, and because that's how our minds work. But what I would also say, Daniel, is to Sonia's point, which was beautiful and wonderful to hear, because sometimes you fall off. You do fall off. You go through this wonderful experience, and naturally it fades away into the background, and the colors become a little bit less bright. But actually, then you experience something that you hadn't experienced for the last 6 weeks. And then something makes you remember that, actually, hang on a minute, I didn't deal with things like this in the last 6 weeks. It's not, as somebody said, it's not like my stress levels went up. It's just because I was dealing with it better last time. So you've got the memory in there that then jogs, wait a minute, it's my saboteur talking to me. Let me go back to my practice. And that's why after the course, there is an opportunity for kind of monthly coaching, where we make sure that we're refreshing it. We're refreshing. It's not as, you don't stay on a course for 6 weeks forever, because that would be a lot. But equally, you keep the concept alive, so that you keep the habits alive, because you keep the conversation alive as you go. So that's a long-winded answer. Hopefully answers your question, though.
Thank you. Sharina,
Yeah.
you raised your hand.
Yeah, I just want to add on 2 points there. One is just to say that it's not that negative things or things that affect you badly, negatively, stops happening. It would continue to happen. It's just that you with your training, you pause, and then you operate from a a place of calmness and try to deal with that. And once you've dealt with it once, then that kind of gives you the memory of having, being able to do that again in the future. So that's one. Second, Daniel, I wanted to say that you probably won't do this when you're on holiday, because then that kind of relaxes you and then kind of takes you away from your daily life. You would do it while you have everything going on, so that then you can deal with it like better.
But that was my analogy, that your program is like
Yeah.
a vacation, and then you have to apply what you learn in the program in your real life. And that's for me the analogy, because on vacation in the paradise, we are all energized and relaxed. We fly back to our home city and suddenly we are completely stressed again, exactly what Sonia was describing. So that's was my question, how we can keep the nice vibrations from our vacation time, how we can keep the nice vibrations from the coaching program in our everyday life.
Yeah, so if you do those 6 weeks in your everyday lives, then it gives you the tools to be able to do that going forward. And if you don't forget it, and then if you don't if you don't let it slip, and then go back to your rut. Yeah,
that's it. It's definitely about keeping those tools in your front pocket, isn't it? I think, and just keeping those thoughts alive so that you can reaccess it whenever you need to. So that's the benefit, really. It's giving you, it's like, it's like going out and buying a bag of tools and then kind of leaving them in the corner, and then one day you're like, I'm really stressed, and then you kind of look in the corner and you go, oh yeah, I got all those tools, oh yeah, I forgot. And then you go, but if you've never had if you don't have the tools in the first place, then you don't have, you cope with things as you've always coped with them, and you don't know that there's a better way. Whereas here, you've got a better way, and you can remember it much easier because you've built those pathways in the past.
Yeah.
So thank you, Sadia, for this very insightful positive intelligence coaching program introduction, and also Sonia and Sharina for sharing your experiences. Shireen is already in this program, and so hopefully you will have more Ladies Beyond Flying coming to this program, and that you experience every day a personal vacation also in your daily stress lifetime. This was the 49th Aviation Women panel, and next month we have the 50th on the 22nd October, and we are going to talk about responsible artificial intelligence practices for the travel and hospitality industry. My colleague Aparna is talking about it, and please bring more positive intelligence to our group. We have 4 basic criteria. You have to be positive, enthusiastic, smart, and upbeat. Then you can join Ladies Beyond Flying. And I know that there are a lot of aviation women who want to be part of this very vibrant group in LinkedIn. Thank you again to everybody. And if we are not seeing us soon again, please stay healthy and safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.